courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here, and today's guest is somebody that comes around this time every year, and you're going to be glad to see him. His name is Santa Claus. Stay where you are, get a pen, be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins, and I hope you had a happy Veterans Day, and here we are getting ready to come up on Christmas. And what would Christmas be without this man? My guest today is Santa Claus. Welcome back to the show, Santa.
Glad to be here, Ken.
Can I get a ho, ho, ho?
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
That's the best we got. Oh, there you go. There you go. Here we go. Take a swig. Because I love them.
You know,
them kids out there, they want that ho, ho, ho. So
they want the ho, ho, ho.
Got to give it to them. You're on here for the last 2 or 3 years, and we folks get to know you. But Santa's helper, is it okay to talk about using the military at one time?
Oh, sure.
It's okay. You was in what, the Army?
Navy.
Navy. Why did you go in the Army?
I didn't like to sleep in foxholes.
Well, I hear you. My daddy was in the Navy, and I was posting some pictures over Veterans Day, and I got 179 people tagged onto that picture of him in the Navy, and everybody knew I was in the Army. Mm-hmm. So I get some of them and say, like, what happened to you, you know? The Navy guys told me, what happened to you? You would join the Army, you know? So,
yeah.
And of course, we give it to the Marines real hard, too. So.
Oh, yeah.
What's changed this year? What's different this time than last time?
I think the two main things that stand out are veterans. The lack of good treatment in some areas. And I think that the veterans, they like our veterans home down there in Pell City. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. But sadly, a lot of the veterans down there just think it's some place to go and die. They're lonely.
Let me tell you a story about that. If you go in there, if you've seen on that plaques and bronze plaques in there, you'll see my name on there 3 times. That's my legacy there. But I agree with you. I had a professor, local from teaching school here in the Anderson area. He come up to me one time as we had some kind of event down there, and I had a name tag on, so I'm over all the veterans homes in Alabama. So he came up to me and he says, Mr. Rollins, I know you, but you don't know me. But he said, I taught school at such and such school. And I said, I lived in Pell City, and me and my wife come over here to visit this place. And after I was over here, looked at it, said, I asked her, could I stay? Of course, I couldn't, but he said, I finally got back in here. He said, I've got onset dementia. And he said, this is my last stop. He said, but I cannot be prouder to spend my last days in a more beautiful facility than this.
Yeah.
Well, when I hit the interstate, I had to pull over when I got to thinking about that, because it is the last stop. It's not a nursing home. It's not where you go get rehabilitated and come back. It is the last stop. But some of the things that we've got there, every veteran can get up in the middle of the night if he want to, and the nurse will type in on the computer and they'll Skype. They talk to their family in Huntsville or wherever they might be, Mobile, looking right at them on television. Now, I've come in there and seen some of them talking to their family, and there'll be a little dog in the background yapping because he recognizes Papa on the TV. So
oh, yeah.
They don't get to visit. People don't get to visit the homes as much as they should, but they are visiting that way. And we tried to be way ahead of the curve. And I'll tell you another story. I get on down here about them, because they are there on their last step, but at least they're not home falling and trying to get around. As I say here today, I've got 2 fractured bones in my leg from falling, in my tibula and my fibula. So when you get on up there a few years, you start falling. You don't need to be a home by yourself. So there's a lot of people down there just for that they couldn't live alone.
Yeah, yeah.
But the other good part of it is, if they're 70% or above disability, it don't cost a penny.
That's right.
And you can't stay in our homes for, it's like the most expensive one is $25 a day. Most of them are like $15 a day. But you try to go into another assisted living facility or something, see if you can do it. It costs you about $300 a day or something like that. But I know you've been down there, and I know you got a cane there. Didn't you fix somebody down there a cane? I know you did. Hillman Prestige.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Prestridge, I made one up for him. Well, I made two of them for him, and he wanted them.
Yeah.
And when they had the big celebration over in France, a friend of his, and they got together and they took off and they went over there, and where the Rangers, he would haul the Rangers and their equipment in on D-Day and drop them off at the bottom of that cliff in the beach. And the Germans were shooting them like flies. And he said, he hauled it in there, and he said, I looked at them, he said, they never stopped, one right after another. He said, the sad part of it was, when they got up there, the guns were gone. He said, just, German here or there, but,
He was in the first wave, wasn't he?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And he wanted to know if it was all right if he took he called it the Bird.
Yeah.
We took the Bird to France. My wife told him, says, Mr. Precious, it's your cane. Well, I know, but he said, I just wanted to make sure. So off he goes. And he said, over where there's not a whole lot that took place during the war, they're finally getting there. It's all blacktop, nice. Where the Rangers come up over the hill, it was gravel. And he tripped and fell. And he broke the left eye in his Bird. But he limped on back home with it, and he brought it over to me, and I fixed it up for him, and I listened to him with just the life story coming out right there, and the history that man knows and shares of people.
Well, for the folks that's watching, when they landed and they had I call them LCMs, they dropped that gate on that thing. He said he saw them getting shot. And the other one over next to him said when that door went down, said they were just shooting them one after another. So he went over the side. But the pilot of that boat had stopped. Water was too deep. And he went over his head with a pack on his back, and his rifle, and the whole works. But he got ashore and survived. But yeah, he went back. He brought back a book with about 200-something pictures. Them people in France treated him like he was a conquering hero by himself when he went over.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stories out there like that. Hey, I seen something you never seen. I know you never seen it. The guy had a cap at one of the veterans' homes. It said "Kamikaze Survivor." Of course, I asked him about it. He said, "There's a sorority of us. Said we's a whole bunch of us across the United States. If our ship was hit with a kamikaze pilot, then we're authorized to wear this hat." And it's got a little symbol for it and everything. It's got a zero, Japanese zero, plane on it. And just think of, he said, that's like I survived a firing squad. That's the way I looked at it, because that might well be a bullet, because you got a mortar round, you got a plane coming at you that is a missile, Oh, yeah. And but he was proudly wearing his kamikaze survivor hat. We're going to have to take a break here. We've got some things to talk about down. I want to talk about that veterans home. So you stay right there and get a pen. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins. We're talking with Santa Claus, and Santa, he was talking about that bird. This is, I'll just do this and run the camera operator crazy over here. But this is one that he made for me years ago, and I use that thing, buddy. I use it, and people know me. I've had them in Cracker Barrel and places like that ask me could they take pictures of it. It's like it's a celebrity in its own,
Yeah.
Wear that. But that's an awesome thing. It won't even be still. But anyhow, I want to talk about, you're talking about the veterans home. Now this is where I want people to get a pen, because I want to put out some information before you go into this. Down here at the Colonel Robert L. Howard Veterans Home at exit 158, there at Pell City, The activities director there is Allie, ALICONN, Allie Conn. And her number is 205 277 7985, extension 420. 205 277 798, extension 420. The reason I give you that is if you've got a church group or you've got you're a school teacher, you got some kids that want some activities to meet some veterans, or you got a group at the church that wants to do something around Christmas time for the veterans, call Allie at that number and you tell her how many, what you want to do, if it's cookies, cakes, whatever, socks, something you want to do around Christmas time for the veterans. That there's a couple of hundred of them, so you're not going to be able to bake it in your own kitchen. But if you want to do something for the veterans, that's a great place to do it. Call her and coordinate it with Allie, and she'll work with you. If you want to go and just take them on a cruise, they'll do that too. Now, some of them, they take them to casinos, but you're too far away. They won't ask you to do that. But keep that number. If you didn't get the number good, you call my number. It's always on the screen here at some point in the show, and just call me, or I'm in the phone book, and just tell me that you need to call the number for the Colonel Robert L. Howard Veterans Home, and we'll hook you up. And that Santa was going to talk about that because you go down there a lot. There's things that you can do like that, like I was talking about. But you wanted the kids to go down and meet them.
Yes, if we can get a group of them together, or just 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
The veterans are down there, Ken, and these young kids have an opportunity to listen to history.
Yep.
A living history. And it's so sad to see that they're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe, my papa or one boy told me it was his mom's mom that was in World War I, and then she was a nurse, and then her daughter became a nurse, and she went through World War II from start to finish. And it's all this history that can be written down or shared or let them record it somehow. A man that has passed away here, dear friend, DeWitt Self, he was on the USS Wisconsin, and when they slid her off the ramp, and he was in charge of painting, and he had a crew of painters, and then they started priming and painting that ship, and that was his job, keep it painted and looking nice, and he would only go so far with me about going into battle. And I said, what did you do? He was the man that got the shells from another man down below that gun and stuck it down in that gun, one right after another.
Mm-hmm.
Man on the other side of him got shot.
Yeah. I had a fellow on here that's up in Piedmont. He was on I think it's Oklahoma, and it threw him off of the back of it, the fantail, and the back of the prop hit him in the back, cut his back open. He woke up in the Honolulu hospital, and he said he could remember the diesel fuel that got in the water burning his eyes and then his mouth and stuff like that. But he said that's the only thing he remembers about it. But that was Pearl Harbor when they did that. But what you're saying about the kids, if you wanted to, when I was in school, if I could have saw Lewis and Clark, you remember the Lewis and Clark expedition? If they'd have had them up on the stage, I would have really enjoyed that a lot more. So you can put, like we were talking about Hillman Pressage, he was at the Normandy landing. He was in the first wave.
Yes, sir.
That's one page of history. Then you got the guy talking about the kamikaze survivor. You got another guy. You got a bunch of Marines down there that they got their stories from Vietnam and stuff that can tell you stories. But there's one guy down there. You go into his room and it looks like a museum or something. It's got pictures, all kinds of different pictures, paintings, beautiful paintings. But you don't see paintings like this in a Havertys Furniture or any place like that. You see these in the museums. And he was a painter for Southern Living magazine amongst a bunch of others, and one of the New York magazines. He's got paintings all over, and he's sitting there today, and he's still painting in his room. But some of the pictures up there, you couldn't buy them for $20,000.
Yeah.
He's hanging in his room, and he's still there. He got out of the service. That's what he took up, was art, and he's made a great living off of it. But he's in his last days, and so. And he couldn't thank me enough. He said, "Man, you don't know what this means to us to have." When you go and see that big old fireplace up there.
Yeah.
When we were getting ready to build this home, everybody brought in what they wanted to do. Me and some of the other people, and I wanted a fireplace. I wanted a huge fireplace, and I wanted big screen TV. So on that fireplace, you got 2 big screens, and you got 2 fireplaces. So I got my wish on that one. Now guess what? We're getting ready to build the 5th veterans home. It's going to be down in southeast Alabama. It'll be down around Dothan, Enterprise in there. I got a fella call me yesterday and say, "I got 90 acres I'll give you," but I can't do that. I got to go through the bid process and all that stuff. But it'll be in that part of the country somewhere in there. We've already voted to do it. I allocated the money and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So we will have after this. This was the 4th home. That'll be the 5th one we build. I hope I do it in my lifetime. Next couple of years, hopefully. So let's see do you ever have when these kids sitting on your lap and they ask them for toys, do they go now more high tech than they did in the past?
It's amazing how some of these kids, 4 and 5 years old, they're into this electronics.
iPad.
And iPads, oh yeah. And you see them with a cell phone, texting. And it just boggles my mind, what's left of it, that how are these kids, I mean, they're born with it, I guess, that they understand all this stuff on these cell phones and iPads. And the dear friend of mine down in Talladega, he got one of the new phones. And he was just having a terrible time. And his one of his grandsons come in there and he says, "Papa, what are you doing?" "Oh, not now, Nicholas. I'm trying to get this thing fixed in my iPad here." And he says, "Papa, look." There you go.
Yeah.
He said, I sat there and he said, "I never felt so stupid in my life."
Yeah, we run out of time. Is there anything that we're going to put we wish for America right now that we can do in 10 seconds?
Prayer.
Prayer. Need a lot of that, don't we?
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah. We got to. I appreciate you coming back on here. You be warm out there during these holidays.
Oh.
And I'll see you next year right here.
Yeah.
I got it out there. We're gonna go. I come back. I got news that you can use. Stay right there. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. I appreciate Santa Claus coming on and doing the show today, and all you kids out there, you be nice, and maybe he'll come by and see you and bring you what you need. And while I'm talking about that, one thing comes to mind is Toys for Tots. And Santa told me to tell you that those little red wagons that you see on those boxes for Toys for Tots, that's a great way to give to the kids that don't have an income. Their parents don't have the income, so they go in and they fill out some papers, and if they fall in under a certain bracket, Toys for Tots will furnish every toy that their kids ask for. If it's a boy, girl, up to a certain age, they give them what they ask for, unless it's a car. But they do get them. They put them in big old boxes and bags and set them off by that child's name, and they did 1,000, I think, last year. Think about that, 1,000 kids here in this area, just them. That some of them, the only Christmas that kid gets is from Toys for Tots. So remember that when you go off and you see one of those boxes, the one with a little train behind it, that's the one, and that's the Marine Corps League. It was on here talking about it, and Chandra Shepard, she's with S&B Cleaning. She's collecting toys also for Toys for Tots. So that's something I can tell you that if you give to them, it'll go right to the kids, and not just the kids, but the kids in need. and their parents have been evaluated, and it's been determined that they are in fact in need. So Santa wanted me to tell you that before he left there a while ago, so I got to get it in. And if you want to give, speaking of that, giving a gift, I tell you every week about S&B Cleaning. And the phone number, you need to write it down, 454-4616. Now, why would you want to do cleaning at this time of the year? Well, you're getting ready for Thanksgiving. You're going to have people over to your house. You're getting ready for Christmas. You're going to have people over to your house. Or you're going to go somewhere else, and while you're gone, you want your house to be clean. And this is our office or whatever, but these people, they just don't clean. They clean. I mean, it's deep cleaning. And I say that because they do great work. They've done my house, and I just can't say enough about them. Superior Hyundai Classic, they got the $500 discount if you bring in a DD214 and you're a veteran, and you show them your DD214, you get $500 off. If you tell them you saw it on Veterans Issues, you get another $500 off. And I was looking at an ad they got going. They got some rebates up to $2,000 or $3,000. So go by there and see those folks at Superior Hyundai. They sponsor this show, and they believe in veterans, and they believe in America. Mac Huckabee and all of them down there, they really love this country, and they're doing something about it. They give discounts to teachers, and they give to something I never heard of. To a kid gets their first car, they give you a discount on that for you getting your first car there. So they're good people, and they're doing good stuff. At Christmas time, there's a place to go that people appreciate you. And speaking of people who appreciate you, I talk about Wounded Warriors. This is not the Wounded Warriors you see on TV. This is Wounded Warriors of Alabama. It's a one-man started out here in this county, and it's expanded. But if veterans are in need, their power's cut off, they need a handicap ramp, or a number of things they've helped me with for help veterans, is Wounded Warrior Alabama at gmail.com. Wounded Warrior Alabama, one word, at gmail.com. Our phone number is 256-458-2715. Give them a call if you need a veteran and help. This week's salute's going to go out to all those that's going to be honoring veterans for the rest of the year. And when you do that, I want you to say something to them. Don't say thank you for your service. From now on, you say never forget. And we'll see you next week here on Veterans Issues, and we're gone. Salute.